So anyway, everybody, welcome to Dave's Live at 5. Today we're going to talk about something having to do with your business plan. So let's go live on Facebook. Where are we? Let's go here. We're going to go live. Okay. We are live on Facebook now. So, hey everybody, Dave Fanale here, a real estate skill builder. Today, Dave's Live at 5. We're going to talk about what's going on in your business planning for 2021, and it's got everything to do with your goals and aspirations. So I've got a very simple PowerPoint that I'm going to use as my base today. So I am going to share my screen, and the good part about this is that I actually remember to go live first and then record. And I just actually remembered to do everything. I just missed it up a little bit because I didn't have it out. So here we go. We're gonna go to my screen, and really simple is we're going to slideshow, play them to start. So everybody, thanks so much for coming. We're gonna talk about my favorite acronym, which is GCAP.
Yes.
We'll go through everything what those four letters mean, but it's something that makes a lot of sense to me, and I hope it makes some sense to you. So what's the G? The G is all about goals. What is it? What are they? What are your goals, right? So a goal can be a dollar. It could also be a transaction number. It could also be a realistic achievement of an award. It could be a reward, anything that you want it to be. But in the real estate business, we're basically looking at dollar amount or transaction number, right? Mm-hmm. And when I talk about goals in the real estate business, I'm not really talking that much about rentals. I'm talking more about sales and listings. So basically, to control your business more, of course, we want more listings than we want sales, because it makes our lives a lot easier, depending on how much you can handle and how many hours a day you really want to work, and if you want any weekends to yourself. Granted, in the real estate business, weekends to yourself is like, I don't know, like winning the lottery. Doesn't really happen that often, because if you're not doing an open house and you're not showing to customers, your phone's going to ring. And hopefully you can be okay with that, right? So when we talk about goals, a lot of people like to use words like realistic. They like to use words like achievable, right? And I don't believe in either of those two words, simply because they limit you. How about wild? How about outrageous, right? What I mean by that is that, think about it, right? So I remember going to a Tom Ferry summit once, and he was talking all about goals. And he said, if your goal is under 100,000, add a zero. He always said add a zero, right? We know that guys like Grant Cardone talk about 10x. Well, I'm going to ask you guys to at least think about doubling or tripling what your goal is, what you think about. A lot of people, a lot of agents that are stuck, a lot of new agents think that the number of $100,000 is a lot of money and a lot of money to make in this business. Well, honestly, depending on where you are in the United States or North America is going to depend on what your market looks like. Right now I'm doing this broadcast I am in northern New Jersey, and our market's around anywhere. I mean, you look at Bergen County where I am in Hudson County, we can go from 50,000 on up to 50 million. So, it's really anybody's guess as to what your per transaction value is going to be. So you can use a number like 400,000, 500,000, any way, shape, or form. We could be looking at an $8,000 commission check or whatever. And that's where you need to base your goal on as far as transaction numbers, where you want to get. So using 8,000 or 10,000 really is I hate to use this word because I said don't use it, is a realistic goal for any new agent or any agent, because that's $100,000. You can do it with 10 deals or 12 deals or 14 deals. And what is that? That's an average of one a month. Doing one transaction a month is not as difficult as it may sound. It's a matter of being persistent and consistent with what you're doing. Now, so I'm going to tell you, be a little wild with your numbers, be a little wild with your goals. And I'm not going to tell you what those numbers are because this is not about the numbers. However, in other calls we can do, if you want an individual call, you want a group call, we can talk about numbers and how to reverse engineer it. If you were happened to check out my broadcast last week, which was Real Estate Talk TGIF number 123 with Jake Kinder, he talked about always reverse engineering his number, how much money he wanted to make. He knew how many transactions he needed. He knew how many calls he had to make. He knew what he had to do in order to achieve those numbers. So I suggest you go back, take a look at that broadcast, which is all over my Facebook stuff where you can find it, right? And it also will be on YouTube on the channel Real Estate Talk TGIF. Let's talk about why. Why? Because I said so. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, why? Okay. Why? What is the reason you want to do this? Now, this can be, honestly, a very, very difficult question to answer for yourself. Okay. It can be really hard. For instance, I'll tell you what, I mean, I've changed my why 3 times in the past 3 months. No kidding. Because something is more important to me, because I need it to be really heavy duty for me. I need it to be something I really see, and I have to be able to visualize it. Everybody that knows me, or most people that know me, know that I want to have a condo on a golf course in the area that we live, right? It's one thing that I really want. I have that picture in front of me every day, all day long. But honestly, there are other things that I also want to achieve, having to do with self-esteem, having to do with individuality, having to do with my family and my person, my body, myself, right? So that's really important as to what you want, where you want to go with your goals, right? And right underneath that, great segue into MBL, which I talk about mind, body, and life, okay? So let's talk about that really quickly. Mind. What is your mind tell? How is your mind going to be satisfied with what you're doing? Mind can be mindset, but also can relate to heart set. And what I mean by that is really not physical, it's more soulful. It's what's within you that you really want to get and how you want to do it. Maybe you have a certain manner that you want, a certain way you want to achieve the goal and way you want to do it. We were talking on a recent broadcast where there was an agent that wanted to help abused individuals, right? And that's one of the ways that this person wanted to build her business. It's great. It is a really drilled down niche. So if that's your why, and I use that as an example, that's great for your mind and your mindset and your heart set, because that was where her heart lies, right? Body, it's your physical being, it's your health, okay? It's what's good for your fitness, right? So what is important to you and what you need to do as far as having a goal, a physical goal, a healthy goal, right? For me, it's a weight. For me, it's a body fat percentage. I'm being honest with you. This is the things I look at every day. I measure it every day. I write what I want to achieve every day. Now, here's the interesting part about body, health, and fitness goals. If you achieve them once, great. But wait a minute, this is also about all your goals as well. If you achieve it once, like say it's $100,000, now you got to achieve it again and better, right? My thought process on my goals when I run, everybody knows I want to run 9-minute miles for 3 miles, right? I achieve it every 6 weeks or so. My goal now really is to achieve it over and over and be consistent with it, right? Similar to your body, your life. That's the next word there. What is that all about? That's about not only your personal self, your family, but it's also your business. It takes all 3 of those put together. And I want to use those 3 things really quickly, right? So it's personal, it's family, and it's business. And I'm going to tell you it's in that order, right? So yourself has to come first. Yes, you have to be selfish so you can selfless. And what I mean by that is simple. It's not saying you're going to be selfish to your family or to your business and all this other stuff. It means that you need to mind yourself as far as giving yourself time, giving yourself that 5 minutes. A lot of us on here and that will watch this have said to themselves one time or another in their lives, I wish I could just have 5 minutes to myself. Now, as a parent, we see that, right? And I'm going to tell you, mothers, you're all superheroes. No question about it. So I know you said that to yourself or thought it. So you want to make sure that you give yourself that time so that you can get yourself together. To give you an idea how I do it early in the morning. I give myself that time early in the morning. Once I'm sitting at this chair that I'm in now and working at my business, I go until I'm done, and I do my best possible job anytime, everywhere, and anywhere without question. So it's a matter of what I want to achieve. Sorry, I didn't mean to go there. What I want to achieve in order to have the best life for me. I get my stuff done in the morning, and then I move forward. I can go from 7 a.m. to 9 at night, right? And mostly with what we do, it is 9 o'clock at night. Luckily, I'm able to do that in my lifestyle, family-wise, everything else-wise. I'm able to do that, right? And it's respected, partially because the time I spend is by myself sometimes, and other times it's not, but it is respected within my close-knit family and whoever's with me, right? So that's mind, body, and life to think about when you're thinking about your goals. What's going to be good for your mind and your heart, soul, your body, health and fitness, nutrition as well, vitamins. What do you need to do? As we get older, I hate to admit this, but our body needs different stuff, okay? I see it in my body every day, right? And I'm probably, on the higher end of who's on this call. So I don't mind. I'm going to do whatever I can to make myself a good person and make myself a healthy person. We go to the C now. Commitment. Probably my favorite letter in the entire thing. Why? Because a goal, even though we've just talked about it completely, it is a hope. It is a dream. That's what a goal is. I mean, look, I want to make $200,000 this year. That's a dream. That's a goal. It has nothing backing it whatsoever. Is it realistic? Is it wild? Is it outrageous? Look, the wilder you make it, the better. But my point about commitment is this. A commitment can actually be measured, and it's measured by your results. It's not measured by dollar value. It's not measured by, where you go in the number of transactions, but it's measured against what your goal that you commit to. So your commitment is usually committing to something. Here, I say, let's commit it to a goal, right? So you commit to a goal. What is it? My goal is 200,000. Quick question that nobody has to answer. I'll answer it for you. If you commit to $200,000 for 2021 and you achieve 75,000, what was your commitment? 75,000 was your commitment. That's what you committed to. If you're working to have a transaction or a contract every week and you don't achieve it, you didn't commit to it hard enough. I'm sorry, but that's the thing. If you commit to something, this is what you achieve, right? Look, there's a lot of people we know, a lot of people I know that work their tails off and they're working on that one transaction a week. That's their goal. Sometimes you hit it. Sometimes you hit 2 in 1 week. Sometimes you hit 3 in 1 week. An average of 1 a week is still reaching that commitment. So when you make this commitment, right here, you're looking at the 4 C's of commitment, and it starts with commitment. Once you make that commitment and you jump on this commitment and you get to it, you want to be able to do whatever you need to do. And what that actually does for you is it gives you the courage to achieve. It gives you the courage to step forth. Once you say, this is my commitment, okay, you're really going to do it. And you're really going to get excited about it. And it's really important to you. See, just saying you're committed to something is bullshit. It's like a goal, it's like a dream. But to actually back it up with being ready for whatever you've got to do. And it's going to give you the courage when you back it up with whatever you got to do, whatever it takes. Once you build that courage, you're going to have the capability and the capacity to be able to achieve it, right? Your mind, your body, your soul, nothing's going to get in your way. You've got the courage and are able to do it. Once you get to that point, you'll start seeing little little steps that are getting you there. And that's where the confidence comes in. So I want you to understand something, what a real commitment is. When you take commitment, courage, capability, and confidence into account, it's being so freaking committed to what's best for your heart that you're willing to sit through the most uncomfortable pain of growth, that you refuse to accept anything less than complete love, alignment, and success. Now think about that. I changed a word out in there because I'm trying to keep it a little clean. I said, be so freaking committed to what's best for your heart that you're willing to sit through the most uncomfortable pain of growth, that you refuse to accept anything less than complete love, alignment, and success. That's called doing whatever it takes to something you're serious about. If your commitment's not serious, it's not worth doing. If your commitment's not serious, you're not going to do whatever it takes. If your commitment's not serious, you're never achieving those goals. Because with the 200, you'll hit 50, you'll hit 75. But here's the thing. I want you to look at your goal another way. If your goal is really $100,000, and I say, Joe Blow, double your goal. And you'll say, well, Dave, I'm never going to hit it. Well, let's do our best to do it. Right? And this is something I learned from Tom Ferry. If you say your goal is 100,000 and you change it to 200,000, if you fail at 135,000, man, you failed pretty well. Look at it that way, right? Not that I'm saying aim for failure. I'm saying aim for that higher number, and you will do whatever it takes to get to that higher number. And think about it. What happens if your goal was 100, you make it 200, and you actually hit that goal? Pretty cool. What's that going to mean to your life? What's that going to mean to your family? So in order to achieve the commitments that we've committed to of our goals, there's a lot of things we need to look at. And this is the easiest part of it. Really, this is the easiest part. What action steps do you need to take? What do you need to build into your system? Well, overall, it's your daily schedule, which means a weekly schedule, a monthly schedule, a quarterly schedule, which means you go back from your goal. Okay, my goal is 200K. What do I got to do to achieve that on a regular basis? So I need so many transactions. So 200K, maybe it's 25 transactions, which means you divide that by 4. That's just over 6 transactions a quarter. Hey, guess what? That's a little over 2 a month. 1 every 2 weeks. A half of 1 a week. Interesting. 10% of 1 a day when you're talking about 5-day work weeks. Think about that. When we break it down like that, it's not difficult to look at it. But if you build and keep going and do the things you've got to do. So what does your daily schedule look like? It's ritual, it's prospecting, but it's also practice, right? You want to put everything in there that you need to do on a regular basis in order to achieve your goal that you've committed to. So that's prospecting. But what is your prospecting? Well, it's working on your pillars of business and what needs to be done with those pillars of business. Maybe it's research. The pillars of business, look, there are so many of them, but you need a base, right? So your number one base, really, in my opinion, is your sphere of influence. If you do not have a sphere of influence, you know what? The moment you get off of this broadcast, go figure out what it is and start building it. If you don't have the bases for it, contact me. I'll help you with it. I'll set you all up, right? The other pillars of business, there are 7 of them, in my opinion, right? Sphere of influence, for sale by owners, expireds, withdrawns, social media, open houses, and circle prospecting. I put circle prospecting last for a reason, because circle prospecting is something you can do with all of the pillars I said before it. There'll be an explanation on this in the coming weeks. Follow up, that's also something you need to do. We all know with that, follow up is important. What's the number one complaint by consumers about real estate agents? Is that we don't communicate, we don't follow up. We say we're going to do something and we don't do it. Hey, how about in a listing presentation, give a communication guarantee? but actually have something that you sign. A lot of people talk communication guarantees these days. I've been talking about it for years and years. Who's doing it? Who's getting it signed? Who's bringing it up in that presentation? Social media, I mentioned that. Networking. Well, how do we network today? Well, networking can be going to online masterminds, Zoom masterminds. That's a way to network. When you Elevate Dominate, we have a mastermind every Monday. And there's a whole bunch of people that come on. And sometimes it's open. Sometimes there's a guest talking. It's a way to network to see who some of the other people are. Networking, someday we're going to be able to get back to do it in person. I personally look forward to it. I know personally I need that, right? I need it for my mind, body, and spirit. Video. Video is in every pillar of business that you have. You can use it in all 7 pillars I talked about. Content calendar. What the hell is that, Dave? Hey, you know what? If you can tell me the next 10 posts you're going to do in the next 10 days and what social media channel you're going to do it on, then you don't need one. But I'm going to guarantee you don't know what you're going to post next Monday. I can guarantee you might not even know what you're going to post later on today or tomorrow. Content is something that's really important, right? If you're putting something out there, whether it's even in an email that people don't want to see or read, guess what? It makes you irrelevant. Last thing in the world you want to be. However, telling a story about yourself is not a bad thing. As my friend Chris Smith says, give them the $1.80, give them the $1.80 worth of posts on a regular basis. That's giving your 2 cents 90 times a day, right? Just so it's relevant to your life and relevant to you. Let's face it, this thing we carry around called a cell phone, it's actually called a smartphone or a mobile device. Let's use our mobile device to our advantage and use it to post stories on Instagram, stories on Facebook, Reels and Instagram TV and all that. Use it. Content production. What I'm talking about with your content calendar, your content production, there needs to be a space for that in your daily or weekly schedule. Maybe it's not every day, but it's there on a regular basis where you're actually going to spend some time every week or every couple of days on producing some content. Quick thing on video and content. If you're going to do a bunch of videos during the week, batch your content production. Like spend 3 hours a week, one day, doing all your content, going to Canva, building what you need to do there, doing a couple of videos, even if it's selfie videos, right? You don't need to be elaborate. I mean, anybody who's visited my studio knows that I've got some elaborate stuff, but they've also seen the really cheap lights I use, which are fantastic, right? You don't need elaborate stuff. Your cell phone is all you need. Lastly on this list is marketing. Remember one thing. Everything you do is marketing. Everything you do, right? I'm not going to tell you that you need to be perfect in everything you do. Like video, everybody says, everybody talks about video. I need to do video. I talk to lots of agents every week. Oh yeah, I should do more video. Oh yeah, I got to do video. Well, here's the thing, guys. Most people won't do video because they have a fear of it. And I don't blame you, right? I've been doing video for probably, I'm going to say 14 years. And honestly, I still get a little nervous every time I do it, right? The good thing about when I do my videos after I run in the morning is there's usually nobody around. So I don't have to worry about anybody listening to me or hearing me, but I still do it. And people are stopped sometimes at a stoplight, wherever I am or whatever, and they hear what I'm saying. And I'm just so much into it, I don't see them or think of them anymore. But when you're doing video, here's a little trick. Number one, remember that it's okay not to be perfect. And a famous line that I love to use is the imperfection is the connection. I thank Matt Allman for that from Social Networks, but the imperfection is the connection.
That is my favorite saying.
So get that from the man, the king of dialogue in the country, Mr. Sekou Pyle. But my point is this, right? I believe in it because as I started this broadcast today, this session today, I said, hey, I'm excited. I remember to go live on Facebook. I remember to do this. And then I forgot to share my screen as I started. So I didn't remember everything. So I'm not being perfect. I forgot to turn my phone on silent. So if you just heard that, I just got a text, right? So there's things that you forget to do, but guess what? It's okay. Nobody gives a shit. No one cares because they're watching you. Why? Because this laptop, your tablet, your smartphone, it's another name for a TV. And what are things that you guys like to watch? A lot of people love these shows like Housewives of Wherever, On Deck or Below Deck or whatever it's called, right? So a lot of those things, I personally, I'm not a fan, but everybody loves it. But what are they? What was the American Idol when it first came out? It's reality TV. And when you do video, when you're out there like this, as this is broadcast on the Real Estate Skill Builder group, it's raw, it's real. I mean, do I rehearse my stuff? Sometimes, but rarely, as most of you know. And I mess up all of the time. So now we've talked about your goals. We've talked about your commitment, how it's so important. And we've talked about the action steps that you need to take. And granted, what you're seeing here is a small fraction of things you can do and set up. But it's important when you're doing your business plan, when we reverse engineer the numbers, that you get to this and you say to yourself, okay, what do I need to do to achieve this $100,000, this $200,000 number, or even $1 million business that you want? These are the steps you're going to take. And as I said, this is only a small fraction of them. There's so many things that you can do to promote your business locally, regionally, globally. When I talk globally, I say from anywhere. Lastly, as I said, we've talked about goals. We've talked about committing to your goals. We've talked about commitment can only be measured by your results. And we've talked about ways to get to your commitments of your goals. Lastly, it's the P. The P. And all it is performance. You need to do the work. It's really simple. Everyone in their business plans every year talk about their goals, that they're going to commit to them, and they set up all these action steps. Maybe people don't talk about the commitment to them, but I know they talk about goals and they set up action steps to achieve them. But I'm going to tell you that the 80 to 90% forget one thing. They forget to actually do the work. And they wonder why their year sucked like the previous one. Look, I'm going to tell you something. The pain of discipline feels a lot better than the feeling of regret that you'll have when you do not perform. It's that simple, guys. The action steps you set up, you've got to do it. I think of this every day. Every day I talk about commitment. I got to talk about it every day, right? And then I always have this little feeling of regret of things I didn't get done. Before we went live today, I was having a conversation with someone about, they say, give a busy man something to do because he'll get it done. You know what? I've stacked up a lot of stuff on my plate, and damn it, I've got to get it done. I've got to figure out a way to get it done. Luckily, I've got the support of great people, most of which are on this call and know me well enough that I do my best to support them. And notice, no one even said I spelled performance wrong. I'm just noticing that now. See, it's imperfect. I made a mistake. I didn't do that on purpose, by the way, guys. But you know what? I put this together because this is a very simple PowerPoint to put together. And I want you to know that, support is something that we all need. I am there. Everybody on this call and everybody that could watch this now, later on, all you need to do is connect with me and say, hey, Dave, I got a question. Hey, Dave, I need something. And everybody that knows me is going to say that this guy is going to respond to you. He's going, even if he doesn't know you, right? If there's any way that I can aid in anyone's success or anyone that thinks they're failing or needs some support on this call, or someone that will watch it later on, please connect with me. The performance is all about doing the work. You've got to perform the action steps in order to achieve the committed goal, which are the results you want. And as a good buddy of mine says, those are the results you're looking for, right? So that's my presentation for today, my Live at 5. I will open this up to any questions that anyone might have. Any questions, guys? Girls, ladies, gentlemen.
How do you, hello, can you hear me?
If someone said something, I didn't hear it.
Hi, it's me, Alphys. Can you hear me? I'm just testing my mic.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I have a question. How do you, like you set out a goal, and obviously you don't change your goal, but how do you, I guess, shift to still, meet your goal, but I guess whatever you're currently doing is not working. How do you either shift or identify that, there needs to be a change? How do you do that transition? And yeah, overall, that's my question.
So most of the things that we're talking about today are things that are really kind of set as to what you're going to do and they're going to work depending on. Now, you might not be able to achieve a goal or a committed goal through your niche, what your niche is. So you might be doing something different that you need to change. How do you make the shift? How do you change from procedure to procedure? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, right. Like, how do you just find, I guess, I'm new to this specific industry. So, um, in my previous industry, you just quickly shift into something else. Or, if whatever way, um, you have always done it is no longer working, you just have to find a different way. So like here in real estate, how do you like one just identify like, okay, this is absolutely not working, or is it that you just need to give it more time? Like what is the difference? And then two, how do you like find other options? I guess.
Well,
May I,
yeah, go
may
ahead.
I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
I just have a question. What was the industry before real estate? What was your industry?
I'm a data analyst.
Okay, so as a data analyst, the goals that you had were it's based on cognitive stuff, right? Like we had to do X by X time, right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, similar. You have to, you get data that you have to analyze. You either have to do a dashboard and then you have to present it. There's a lot of data. You have to clean it up. um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the thank you for that. The concept that you're talking about in your old industry about being able to shift goals was based on sort of like a finite amount of hours in the day, a finite amount of power to put forth an analysis of data. Am I correct?
So I basically that there was a specific amount of time, and then I'll get results based on that.
Right.
Uh,
So
I sometimes yes, like sometimes I can say I need approximately 4 hours to finish this dashboard, but
mm-hmm.
not like 100%. I do like since I'm new more here in real estate, um, everything does seem a bit more ambiguous. So I guess
Mm-hmm.
that is what I am managing, just the
Mm-hmm.
ambiguity of everything. Um, but in data analytics, which I think has been helping me here, everything is not absolute. Like
Right.
yes, so like yes, you look at the data and it says a specific number, but getting there, cleaning the data, getting there, presenting it, telling the story, it's not always black and white. There is a gray area, and you tell a story differently to everybody. So it's not always absolute, or something in technology can just fuck up and you'll stay
Yeah.
12 hours. So completing
I believe y'all call them bugs, right?
sure,
Right.
I say just
So
sometimes.
so what I'd like to present to you is a perspective shift, right? I'd like you to take the laughter and the sort of levity that you just used to explain that to me and apply that to this business and your goals. I had a really, really powerful coach tell me that in order for you to achieve your goals, you have to have the mindset and the habits. Okay. And so if you are on the path of achieving your goals or not achieving your goals, so to use the same example, Fanale says you've increased from 100,000 to 200,000, and your pattern is still putting you towards 100,000. You either have to change your habit or you have to change your goal. And the pain of discipline that he's talking about is the habit of hitting your goals, is the habit of hitting the next higher goal. The activity is like in data and analysis where you deconstruct, right? You're going to find the point where the bug happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to step backwards until you hit the point of the bug, and you'll be like, oh, there you go. Well, the same thing happens here. You have this $200,000 goal. Let's call it 20 transactions for analysis sake. Oh, right?
Yeah.
Let's call it 20 transactions. 20 transactions is less than 2 transactions a month if you're working on a 12-month scale, and it's one every other week. You can boil it down to how many contacts you need to be making per hour in order to achieve that goal. Right? So it just like in data analysis, just like in your former industry, there's some gray space. There's a story to be told about the unforgiving minute, for as far as I'm concerned. So if you were at the coffee machine more times than you were on the phone, or if you were checking your email more times than you were sending text to your clients, customers, and prospects, there's going to be a cause and effect to your minute-to-minute production, which will have an overall effect to your year. Does that make sense?
Whatever I'm prioritizing, it's going to show at the end of the day.
Damn right. And just I know that the analytics in the room hate it when I say this, but you'll have to trust me on this. Every hour that you take off is 2 hours to get back on. So that's a 3-hour window that you're down. Every day that you take off is 3 days to get back on. Every week is 3 weeks, month, 3 months, year, 3 years. It's just the way this business runs. So if you are not consistent, your GCAP is going to be off, and your consistency will reflect in the results that you get. I know that every 33 contacts I make, I set an appointment, I sell a house. So I make 100 contacts a day so I can have 3 appointments a day so that I can lose 2 and still do a deal a day. Okay.
And that's going to go along with what you're going to shift to. You're going to know if something's working, and you're going to be able to make the shift as you move along. And the more, and when we talk about the 7 different pillars, you're going to have those 7 pillars might not be the same for you, right? They might be different. They're, like I said, there's many other pillars, but I talk about the basics. I talk about the basic ones because they're proven to be business generating, right? So that's where you go from there. That answer your question, Alphys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody have any other questions?
I like the way that you framed it in terms of it made it less like a really big elephant. You kind of you broke it down into smaller pieces to actually eat the elephant.
Yeah, because you know how to eat an elephant, right?
You don't want to say reach 200,000. For me, like that's really ambiguous, and it's just like I'm like, okay, what the hell do you mean? It's like telling somebody I want to go on vacation, but never telling them where do you want to go and how to get there, and like, do you want to go by boat? Do you want to go by plane? Do you want to go by car? So like really
That's
telling
right.
them more of the specifics and how to get there. Of you said 100 calls per day will lead you to 3 appointments. That's very specific. So that's like how my brain works.
Right.
Well, Fanale said something really important earlier about committing right? So we, all of us, tend to discount our heart. We tend to discount our dreams. We tend to discount the things that we want over or under, I don't know, below the things that we feel like we have to do, below the things that we feel like are necessary. And I would argue that his statement of committing to what's best for your heart and being willing to sit through whatever it takes to achieve it, right? Is if you'll excuse the expression, it'll trump your head. It is not, you're not supposed to spend time in your head when you are achieving goals and dreams. You're supposed to be spending time on the ground and really working it out. And when you're in your head, it's only to tell you that you can keep going. Right? You set the data out in front of you like a map, and then if you can't just follow your map, then something's wrong. If you're second guessing your map along the way, something's wrong.
Right. It's about also about the left and the right. What you're talking about. You know, I had this conversation many times about, you know, you get to a fork in the road. This is a story, probably a book I'm going to write eventually called The Left and the Right. You know, everybody has this fork in the road they hit. We hit it on a daily basis almost. And I'm going to tell you, I think 90% of the times we all go left. Why are we going left? Because it's the wrong way to go. We make our decisions are based on, you know, sometimes split second. Sometimes, you know, we go left, and a lot of times we realize right away that we should have gone right. So it's easy to get through, right? But sometimes we go too far left, right? So we've got to be careful with what we're doing and understand that when we're committed to something, that commitment is going to override the wrong move, because we're going to take what's best for our heart, but we're going to be analytical about it at the same time. Okay.
Beautiful.
Anybody else have any questions? I want to thank you all for joining us on this session of Live at 5 for GCAP. And we're going to talk about more pieces of this and get into some numbers next week with all of this, because this is the time you should be building your plan. And your plan should be done for next year just about this week. Because guess what Monday is? And Tuesday. It's New Year's.
Real estate New Year.
I want to wish everybody a happy New Year before we get there for next week. I'll see you, anybody who's interested in coming to our Scripts and Dialogues on Thursday at 5 Eastern, and our question and answer at 6 Eastern on Thursday. Let me know. I will be dropping that in Commitment to Capping, the link, as well as in Pillars and a notice on Real Estate Skill Builder. Thank you all, guys. Have a great, great night. I appreciate it. We're going to go off of Facebook. We're done there. See, I'm pretty good at this, huh? Right? Thanks a lot, guys. See ya.